Hey everybody, welcome to season two, episode two of Geek.0. Uh, Coming to you live, well, not live, coming to you pre-recorded
Pre-recorded.
over Skype. Hopefully this time our video feed will be a little bit better than it was in season two, episode one. Fingers crossed. Um, got a few things on tap for you today. I'm Chris, by the way.
Shawn Michael.
And so we're gonna get into a few things today. We're gonna start out. First of all, y'all are probably gonna call us PlayStation fanboys by the time this episode's done, because the first two-thirds of the episode we're gonna cover PlayStation VR and very heavily cover PlayStation View. And then we're gonna wrap it up with we've seen the first three episodes of season two of Daredevil on
Yes.
Netflix. So we're gonna give a little bit of feedback on what's going on with season two with the introduction of the Punisher. I accidentally hit my light right there.
And on a side
Uh,
note, if you are, don't tune us out. Just bear with us. If you are an Xbox owner or fan, we've been meaning to do sort of a year three review, kind of analyzing Xbox and its place in the Xbox One and its place in the Strata. Now that things have changed quite a bit for the system, and we're going to do an episode
yep.
about that coming up. But really, these are really hot topics right now and things we desperately want to talk about. So,
Yeah.
welcome to the PlayStation episode.
Hey, hey, we're really, really hoping that the crossplay thing happens. Okay,
Yeah,
so
amen.
yay for Microsoft for being the one that steps out that wants to make that happen.
Good on you.
Um, so good on you, Windows Incorporated. Um, with that, it was announced this week, I believe it was this week anyway, that PlayStation VR is going to drop. It's going to drop in October,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
perfect because my wife can get it for me for my daughter's birthday. Um, and you know the pricing of it is pretty reasonable when you compare it to other VR systems out there. You're looking at only 499.99 for a bundle.
Yeah.
So why don't you give us a little bit of a lowdown on what that 499, tell you what that $500 is going to give us,
Yeah.
and what your initial thoughts are with your reading on the VR.
Okay. So, Um, I think it's important if we're going to talk VR and the PlayStation VR that we distinguish, and that's just because there are many of the people out there who aren't familiar with PlayStation as well as they are with all of the hype that's been surrounding VR. And the other two players in the market, two primary players in the market who are releasing headsets. So when we're talking VR, we're talking virtual reality, and we're talking Oculus Rift. So obviously the first to the game and the first ones to develop a working hardware unit and really get the word out there. That's Palmer Luckey's company. And Oculus is working very, very, very closely with Facebook after Facebook acquired them.
I was gonna say it's not really his company anymore. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it kind of is.
He Palmer still is in charge of day-to-day operations and still the head of Oculus as a company,
Right.
but they
Yeah, I get
are
what you're
under the
saying.
Facebook
But,
umbrella.
yeah.
And then there's HTC, and they're releasing a headset called the Vive Pre, and
Which,
there's
by the way, is
talk.
getting a ton of positive
Yeah,
press.
yeah, I was gonna get to
So,
that. The Vive Pre is there is rumors that it will just be the Vive by the time it actually launches, but right now its code name is the Vive Pre. Both of these are incredibly high-end headsets that require an incredible amount of processing power and a really
oh
beefy
yeah.
PC to power them. So price points wise, we're looking at $599 for the Oculus Rift, okay, and for the Vive Pre, we're looking at $799.
And what's great? Okay, you know what? I'm going to stop you right there for a second because you did talk about the fact that it's going to take very powerful hardware.
Yeah, that was not
Not only is
included.
it a $600 and $800 headset, you're also going to have to buy at least what, a $500 video card to power it.
Yeah, you're looking at
You
about
know,
just
plus
under just under $1,100 in PC hardware at the minimum to power
yeah.
these things.
And that's not to run it at full graphic capability.
Yeah,
That's to run those units at their bare minimum
correct.
capabilities.
So
So,
that's a
you know,
heavy investment, and that's an important
yeah, it
thing to
is.
say because VR is a very 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 it's a cutting edge technology. It's bleeding edge tech, but it
Man,
requires
Nintendo had it in like 1987 with Virtual Boy. So
let's not even go onto the Virtual Boy. If you want to see some stuff about Virtual Boy, that's a great look at it. Check out our article from a couple weeks ago about Nintendo in the VR space. We'll never do that again. Hey, we're going to work with VR. But that having been said, it takes a ton of processing power to make these things and these environments work properly. And the Oculus Rift and the HTC Vive Pro, both headsets come with we're looking at the actual headset itself, headphones for the units, and then with the case of the Vive Pro, you're also getting two hand controllers and the
yep.
laser sensors for the room to detect them. Now the Oculus is deliberately, and this was a recent announcement by Palmer Luckey, they didn't cut the hand controllers from the package. They are developing hand controllers, but they intended to launch the Oculus without them because they want to capitalize on the experience of getting used to the VR environment with simple experiences first, so they can release some really blockbuster products moving on when they do release their hand controllers. So now that we've looked at, like, those are the two major players in the market,
Yep.
the third wheel to this entire process in the market, or I should say this competitive market, is PlayStation's entry, and that's going to be PlayStation VR. We're looking at a headset that's powered by your existing PlayStation 4. And I'm going to make a little detour because it just happened to be announced right when we got into this PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
There is some widespread speculation, and this is not just like a single media outlet talking about this randomly, but there has been widespread talk over the last 4 days that Sony is working on a revamped PlayStation 4.5, a new piece of hardware that's more powerful than the existing PlayStation 4. It's not the next gen console from them, but it's a beefier, more powerful version designed to do two things: 4K video and 4K games, and then more powerful experience for the PlayStation VR. Now, there hasn't been any
Which,
confirmation. Go ahead.
if they don't take the opportunity to just call that the PlayStation 4K, someone in marketing should be fired.
Yeah, that's
Because, come on,
good shot.
4.5's dumb. Just saying.
PlayStation 4K.
Ta-da.
Ta-da.
PlayStation, you can have my
Feel free
resume if
to
you
take
want
that.
it.
Just send us a check.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that having been said, one of the things to take into consideration is that Sony has been very clear in saying that the PlayStation VR environment and experience can be powered by the existing PlayStation 4 system quite
Yeah.
well. But looking forward at a piece of hardware that can take advantage of these other technologies that consumers are really interested in means that they're going to have to beef up. And I find it interesting that Sony took a long, hard look at this and decided that a software update alone wasn't enough, okay? Pushing a major platform update to the system that we already have wasn't enough in their minds to get it ready for this. They wanted to revamp the hardware and give users a new experience, an opportunity at a new experience. Now, I read a few articles. I do believe The Verge was one of them, quoting somebody from, I want to say, Digital Times. But there is a question out there as to whether existing PlayStation 4 owners are going to be able to get some sort of a credit towards a trade-in or some sort of a program so that they don't have to feel like they kind of got shafted by being early adopters, getting in there and making Sony the money they needed to propel the PlayStation 4 forward so they could even make this next system.
Yeah, because I know when I first heard about the idea of a PlayStation 4.5, I wasn't exactly thrilled about it.
I wasn't either. I wasn't either. And neither is anyone else going to be, especially when you put that kind of money down on hardware.
Hmm.
So now that we've talked about the environment that we're going to be playing in, PlayStation 4 or PlayStation VR, as Chris mentioned, announced this last week. $399, same price point as the existing PlayStation 4. The unit will come with a headset, two Move controllers, and a game. Something interesting is that I noticed 2 days ago, PlayStation's blog themselves posted a blog post relating to pre-order bundles. The pre-order bundle will come with a special PlayStation VR World game.
Yep.
I believe it's a collection of games, two move controllers, the headset, and the camera. And that goes on pre-sale on Tuesday. But that blog
But
post has since disappeared.
that launch bundle with the camera is 4.99, not
Correct.
3.99.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that is
their
an
extra
important
100
distinction
bucks.
to make. However,
So,
that actual blog post itself has come down. So I don't
but
know
if
if
you're
they're
on PlayStation VR,
yeah.
if you're on their website right now, they have that launch bundle up. It's
Okay,
not
okay.
saying when it's going to be available for pre-order, it's just coming soon. But just the headset is 3.99. The bundle's going to be 4.99.
Which makes sense.
So run down to GameStop and buy yourself a used PlayStation camera and save a little save a little bit of money. But
Exactly. And which
it
is
is what it
great
is.
because I bought the camera initially because there was a lot of talk about how effective the facial tracking for login and all that is. Uh, and it does work great, but honestly, the PlayStation VR is going to be the first chance my
Yep.
PlayStation camera actually gets proper use. So,
Yeah.
minus
Oh yeah.
the Playroom function, which we tinkered around with for about a total of an hour and a half since
Yeah.
we've owned it. So, for those who haven't experienced it, if you are thinking the hardware is too expensive, okay, and that you're thinking, gosh, that's the price of an entire console. Here's the deal. If you want to experience the environment, if you have a Galaxy based phone, a Samsung Galaxy based phone, or a friend who does, you can grab for 99 bucks, you can grab the Gear VR. And it's a
Hmm.
great introduction to the VR environment. Go find a person who has one, play with it, come over to my house, we'll play with it. But realize once you get done with that experience and you're like, holy crap, this is amazing, realize that PlayStation VR, Oculus, and HTC are like
Be
six levels
way up
above
here.
that. We're talking an
Yeah.
entirely like an entire other world as far as the experience. And that's because
It'll
this
make the
headset
Galaxy it'll make the Galaxy Gear look like Virtual Boy.
I don't think it's gonna be that drastic, but yeah, the point is made. What's great about these headsets is they have something called positional tracking, and what that means is, in the
Yep.
case of the PlayStation VR, it uses the same light bars on the headset that the controllers currently
Control.
do, and it can detect it uses depth of field technology, thermal technology that was originally developed for the original Microsoft Connect. Everybody's using the same,
Oh yeah.
yeah, tech in this, but it can that depth of field. It can detect the distance you are from the system, where you're moving, and how you're moving to create that virtual image. Unfortunately, it's incredibly hard to describe how amazing this experience as a whole is.
Yeah.
Just audibly, it's something you have to
Yeah,
experience.
absolutely.
And
Yep.
full disclosure, while we have been reading up on, studying, watching every video, going through every piece of content from people who have interacted with this environment, we personally have not played with the PlayStation VR, the Oculus, or the HTC Vive yet, or Vive.
We
Though I
need
do
more
have
viewers.
extensive experience with the Gear VR. So what?
We need more viewers on YouTube and we need more readers on our website before
Yeah,
we have the
help us do
capability to
that
get all
so we
that
can
stuff in
get
advance.
the
So help us
HTC
out so we
to
can get
test it
you
out.
guys the information you want.
So, what's your take, man? What do you think about PlayStation VR? Are you
I
excited?
like it.
Are you pissed
I
about the
am.
price?
No, you know what? No, I'm not. Because when you can buy a PlayStation for 400 and the bundle for 500, you're talking 700 or what are we
900.
talking? 900.
Yeah.
I've already got a PlayStation 4. Um, but when you compare it to what the Oculus is going to cost, or what the Vive or Vive or Pre or Prey or whatever in the world they're calling that one, um, I, I don't get what it is with game companies having to have confusingly pronounced names like the PlayStation Vita, whatever it is. I'll never understand that. But I'm not super upset with the price. Because it's still, as a whole, PlayStation console and VR still in line with just the headsets from the other companies.
Yeah.
So it's not a crazy price point. especially for people that have already got a PlayStation 4. The one thing I don't know how I feel about is those doofy PlayStation Move controllers that they're going to be using to run it along with the headset. I had a PlayStation Move with my PS3.
Uh,
It was okay. It
okay,
wasn't the most responsive thing in the world.
I'm going to time you out here because I have to
Go
agree
ahead and
with you
time me
fully.
out.
I agree with you completely when it comes to the Move experience on PlayStation 3. But
Right.
when the Move experience launched on PlayStation 3, that was almost 5 years ago, and
Oh, I understand.
the tech has advanced
Oh yeah,
astronomically.
you have more processor power, you have more GPU power, you have all of that in the PlayStation 4, and it's all going
Speaking
to
of
work
which,
better.
since you brought up the Move controllers, I think it
Yeah,
warrants mentioning another tidbit that we learned last week or the week before. Um, it's been confirmed that Sony is currently working on a virtual reality glove control device.
sweet Sony Power Glove.
Yeah. So,
Awesome. Everything comes back to late 80s, early 90s
isn't
Nintendo.
that funny how it just
Ne
comes full
next
circle?
they're gonna have a blaster. We could play virtual duck hunt.
That's great.
That'd be great.
To,
Oh man.
but
So
to
I think that's cool.
Yeah, and I'm going to assume that's uh, is basically an attempt to look at this new, um, creating a better experience of interacting with the virtual environment in VR. From all the stuff that's been said out there about the glove experience, it's Sony's putting a lot of time and effort into like the haptics of it, okay,
Right.
as well as the one-to-one ratio, so you can actually physically grab things in the environment and it be
See, and
incredibly
to
accurate.
me, that screams virtual reality
Yeah.
to have the glove and be able to reach out and grab stuff, as opposed to holding what looks like a marital aid in your hand with a ball on the end of it that glows, freaking like waving your wand around like Harry Potter, trying to cast
Oh,
spells, and trying to hit the buttons when you can't look down at the controller at any point because you got the big goggle set on. Honestly, the Move controller is the only thing that concerns me about PlayStation VR. So if they can come out with a glove, I'll be happy.
yeah.
Um, I just
I'm not going to let you live
I
down that you
really
used the
like the
word
idea of
marital
it.
aid in a podcast. I'm just going to put that out there.
Well, I didn't. I tried to not go dirty with it. Trying to keep that NSFW tag off of the show, stay PG 13 here.
That's great.
So that's what I went with. I never thought I would use those words in a podcast, but here we are. Um,
Ta-da.
but I like the idea of it. I think they're saying at launch they're expecting what, 40 games? Is
Yeah,
that 40 plus games at
40 plus
launch?
games. Yeah.
The idea that there's going to be an immersive experience for Star Wars Battlefront sounds pretty freaking cool. Whip around in the freaking Millennium Falcon and take out some AT-ATs and stuff with Chewie by your side. That sounds pretty freaking awesome to me.
Yes.
If nothing else, as long as let's, how about they put a story mode into the virtual mode of Battlefront? Really excited about.
Yeah.
But I think PlayStation VR is gonna do well. Do I think it's gonna be a huge hit?
Um, so here's
Because like you said, it is a good size investment. It's buying another console, not
yeah.
3 years after a console came out.
Here's the deal, though, and this
You
is
know,
something I didn't think we were going to get this deep into it, but since we're already
neither did
here,
I. Yeah,
um, here's the deal. And I wrote an article about this on our blog a couple weeks ago. Here's the deal. I personally think that when it comes to the virtual reality, whatever you want to call it, phenomenon, this new
yeah,
market, okay? I personally think the PlayStation VR is stage two. It has the potential to be the most influential piece of hardware in VR over the
yeah,
next 18 months to 24 months. And I'll tell you
yeah. I
why.
think it absolutely has the
We've,
opportunity of the three or four to be the most
yes,
successful.
because we've got 30 million plus people with PlayStation
Yeah,
4s already in their houses, okay?
Right.
We
Yeah.
do
So if they
not
sell,
have 30 million people with $1,500 PCs that
heck
are
no.
ready for VR on those
And
other
that and see, and that's the
consoles.
problem is most people nowadays, in all honesty, unless they have a like a Windows 7 based unit from 8 years ago, how many people do you truly know that aren't running a laptop or a tablet at this point?
Yes.
I mean, unless it's in a business setting, laptops and tablets have become prevalent because of the mobility
Yes.
of it.
Many of our
And
customers.
you're just not obviously a laptop cannot run a virtual reality headset. If somebody could figure that out, they'd be rich because
Oh yeah.
that'd be the one everybody would want because they could travel around with it. If you're in hotels, you could play games still. If you're at the park, who cares about experience in nature? You can just play virtual reality on your laptop at the park at a picnic bench. But, right now you can't do that.
Yeah, and let's be honest. Since you brought that up, for those who are picturing or envisioning just slapping on a headset and being like, "Oh yeah," keep in mind that this is first gen and this is a new tech.
Oh yeah.
Every single one of
Oh
these
yeah.
headsets, the Vive Pre, the
There will be
Oculus,
bugs.
there is probably close to 4.5 pounds of cables hanging off your head, okay, leading up to the unit to power these things to connect them for a direct line connection. So it's not like the lap, and you hit the nail on the head. This laptop experience, somebody would make the ultimate fortune if they could figure a way to wirelessly micronize this process. But
Yep.
we're a long way off from that. We're talking
Well, I don't think
Blade
there's
Runner
even battery.
style interaction right
Yeah.
now.
Well, there's not even battery technology that could make that happen
No,
wirelessly. I mean,
no.
you'd be able to play for all of like 40 minutes
Yeah,
and then it would
if
be
that.
dead. You'd have to get a big lithium ion battery and figure out some way how to cool it all too.
Hey,
Um,
Elon Musk, this
but
is a cue.
yeah, exactly. Hey, Tesla,
We need some
quit trying to
Tesla
save the
tech,
world with quit trying to save the world with cheap portable home
energy
batteries for
efficient
solar
vehicles,
cells and energy efficient vehicles. Just build us a battery powered VR headset.
and we will bow at your feet.
Exactly. So, all that, I think PlayStation View will be successful. I think it's got, like you
VR,
said, it's got the install base, or sorry,
VR.
VR, yes. PlayStation VR. Obviously, View is going to be successful because that's the next thing we're going to talk about. So we might as well segue into that. VR is going
yeah,
to be successful. Now it's on to PlayStation View. Everybody out there, everyone has been begging for this for a decade to be able to get away from Dish Network, DirecTV, Cox, Mediacom, Comcast,
yeah.
especially Comcast. People have been trying to get away from them, and you can finally tell your cable provider to read between the lines, folks. You can finally move away from them, especially if you have a PlayStation, but you
Yes,
don't have to have a
you
PlayStation for this
don't.
to work.
No,
PlayStation View has arrived. PlayStation View is excellently priced. Both
yeah,
of us have tried it. Me, from the perspective of someone that has been a Dish Network subscriber for 12 years, and Sean, from the perspective of someone that has not had any sort of cable service or satellite service for what, 3 to 5 years now. So Sean has not had anything. So um, I'll go ahead and let you lead off because, I've just been doing a bunch talking about VR. So I'll let you lead off on your thoughts on your experience. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. I'll start out by talking a little bit about what PlayStation View is,
that
and then we'll
works.
get into your experience. So PlayStation View, VUE, is PlayStation's new cable provider. Is that a good way to put it? Over
Internet
the
based cable service.
internet-based cable service. Yes, there you go. And there's three plans, and you're gonna love the prices of these plans.
You really
There's a
are.
fifth, there's a 55 plus channel that's called the Access Slim. Starts at $29.99 a month. There are no taxes. There are no hidden fees. There are no equipment rental costs. It's $29.99. You're gonna get billed $29.99. Then there's a Core Slim bundle that's 70 plus channels, $34.99 a month. And then there's the Elite Slim, which is what I signed up for, which is $44.99 a month. And this is what's making everybody excited about all this. The thing that has just kept derailing and kept derailing and kept derailing the cord cutter movement has been not being, and not everybody's into sports, but the fact that ESPN was not available outside of a cable or satellite provider
Yes.
is what has stopped the movement away from these conglomerates that charge. I mean, I'm a real good example of this. 120 channels. Well, I can think I'm at 180, but 120 channels, which several of the channels on my package are not available. Several of the channels that I have through Dish Network that we've been wanting to get, that we were able to get through PlayStation View, would cost even more on Dish Network than what they would cost on PlayStation View.
And that's a
Uh,
really good point that you were in that segment, even on a high level package with Dish like you were.
yeah, second to
Um,
highest package, and I was still having to look for a la carte channels to get everything we wanted.
yeah, and the cool thing about this is I talked about this in a meeting I had last week with a number of people and all cable subscribers, and they were looking at their tiers. One of the things that's made people the angriest when it comes to subscribing to cable is that when you get your package, your base level package, it's got 6 channels you want and 80 you
Mhm.
could give a crap about. But there's 2 channels you desperately want, but you have to move into like a $25 a month more higher package. And
Absolutely.
even if you have that package, there may be 1 channel that you want, but that's deliberately put into the next tier. So
The
you
next
to get the
tier. Yep.
yeah, to get the channels you want with a cable package in this country, you almost have to go for their top level tier. With
Yep.
PlayStation View, we looked at it. Every single channel that we give a crap about, because we're not
Hmm.
sports family, every single channel we give a crap about is available on the cheapest package. Okay,
Well,
and that doesn't
and
mean
let me,
that we're just watching like 4 channels. I mean that's HGTV, Food
yeah,
Network,
I was gonna
Travel
run through
Channel.
here.
Yeah.
I've got this pulled up. Let me run through what is on just the big channels that are on the cheapest
Okay.
package. ABC On Demand, Fox On Demand, NBC On Demand, AMC, Animal Planet, BET, Bravo, Cartoon Network, CMT, CNBC, CNN, Comedy Central, Destination America, Discovery, Discovery Family, Disney, Disney Junior, Disney XD, DIY, ESPN, ESPN2, Esquire, Food, Fox Business, Fox News, Freeform, Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 2, FX, FXX, HGTV, HLN, ID, MSNBC, MTV, MTV2, National Geographic, NBC Sports, Nick Jr., Nickelodeon, Nicktoons, the Oprah Network, Oxygen, Pop, Spike, Sci-Fi, TBS, TLC, TNT, Travel Channel, True TV, TV Land, USA, VH1, and We.
That's
All of
nuts
those
for
are on
$30 a month.
the cheapest package, ladies and gentlemen. So we will be shouting from the rooftops about PlayStation View. Um, and so far, and what's really interesting about this whole service, part of the reason that my family has not cut the cord is that my wife has been extremely comfortable with how Dish Network works. It's what she's used to. It's what we have had for as long as we've been together. And before that, she had cable, so it's a very linear process. You know, that's what she's had this whole time. And when I've broached the subject of shutting off Dish Network and just running off of a Hulu, Amazon Prime, Netflix type situation, there was concerns that there wouldn't be enough kids programming available for our daughter. There wouldn't be enough of the stuff that she likes, you know, the Little Women of LA and Real Housewives and Top Chef and Fixer Upper and all the reality type programs that she likes. Well, that she listens to in the background while she reads, honestly, for the most part. Um,
My wife's the same way.
yeah, yeah. The listen to programs, the laugh at the people in their misery programs. But with this, I mean, so far she used it most of the week this last week, and outside of a couple little issues when our internet was struggling, due to there was an outage in town just because of the weather. Someone smacked into a pole. Well, of course, then we lost, you know, they were fine. But of course, then she lost coverage. But it was back up within like 20 minutes and was still working great. So, you know, from our experience, it's been great. You can subscribe, you can pick your favorite channels, you can pick your favorite shows. And what's great is when you pick your favorite shows, there's cloud-based DVR service, and all of
Yes.
those shows that you select are automatically available for the last 28 days. Anything that is shown for the last 28 days, unless they're networks that offer on-demand services. ABC, Fox, NBC. I believe AMC is actually allowing on-demand as well, because I was able to scroll back to like seven Walking Deads. Um, so it's just everything about it. The only bad part about it is that you can't keep like an entire season of something recorded on your DVR like you can
Correct.
with a Dish Network, DirecTV, or a cable company. So that part does kind of stink because sometimes we'll save something to watch over the summer because nothing's
Right.
on over the summer. So that way we'll have one or two things to watch over the summer if we're bored or, don't feel like going outside on a specific day. But outside of that, so far we've been very happy with it. And this is, like I said, coming from a family that's had Dish Network for ever. I've personally had Dish Network for 12 years. Um, and when I asked for a discount because of this service, they offered me a whopping $20 off of my bill.
Yeah, that's crap.
So once our free trial is done, I'll probably be suspending our Dish service. So that way we can get an extended tryout period for View and to see how it works, and then either move completely into View or move back to Dish, depending. But I'm just going to suspend our service just to try it out. So coming from you as the individual who has not had any sort of cable service for 5 years, you're probably, I would assume, loving the fact that you have live TV.
So here's where it gets interesting. We There are some shows that we enjoy watching. Gotham, Archer, good some network based shows. And some I'll call them cable network shows, AMC's stuff, things like that.
The AMC's, FX's,
Yes.
yeah.
So nobody that I know was more excited about the idea of PlayStation View when it first was released or announced it for private markets for like five, primary major metropolises. I think it was like Atlanta, New York, Miami, Philadelphia, San Francisco,
Yeah.
So I was super excited and I couldn't wait to get my hands on it. And when
Yeah.
I saw that it was available in my area, I was giddy like a schoolgirl. And I pulled it up and I started playing with it, and a couple of things hit me. I have become so used to on demand content that plays instantaneously and beautifully through Netflix, okay?
Yeah.
I almost had to relearn how to interact with TV. Looking at a
Right.
guide and going, okay, these are the
Yep.
only things I can watch right now. I keep forgetting this is a TV service. This isn't an on-demand
Hmm.
service, and so I would get ticked because I'd see something, I'd go to click it, and it just shows you what it's going to be, and I'm like, why
Yeah.
can't
What's
I
going to be
watch
on
this?
for the next three? Like, what's going to be on
Exactly.
for the next 3 hours?
And it's
Yeah.
like, well, that's 6 hours from now. And I'm like, oh, that's right.
Yeah.
This is TV. And I think I've been so spoiled by the internet economy created by Netflix's ridiculously large cache of original programming. So I've
Oh, yeah.
gotten so used to not having TV and then only grabbing the shows that I want to, from Hulu and um, uh, watching other ways. That it took some getting used to. I will say a couple things. Is my excitement, anyways, less dimmed by it? Absolutely not. But I think it's a really important part because I thought we were going to be polar opposites. I thought I was going to be singing its praises and talking about how it's the greatest thing to happen to television in 20 years.
Mhm.
And I thought
And then
were
I
going to
was
end
going to
up
hate it.
saying, you were going to end up saying it's not going to work in our house. I've got a kid and a
Mhm.
wife who are used to a certain economy. I'm not
Mhm.
liking the quality. I'm not liking the features, blah, blah, blah. So let me just play devil's advocate real quick. Let me talk about
Yep.
what it's not, okay, and what it doesn't provide, okay? So here's the deal. Most markets lack local live affiliates, so you're not watching your local channels live, period. Okay? In
But
most
okay,
markets, unless you're in a
tell you
primary
what.
city.
You play devil's advocate, and I'll give you a counterpoint to each thing that you go,
Okay,
and I'll try to give a counterpoint to each thing. All right. It doesn't play live locals, and that
correct.
does suck. But
If you're somebody who
I,
watches live locals, sorry.
if you watch the live local news, um, because if you don't like watch the news, just wait a day. Everything will be the next day. Or drive your happy butt over to Amazon, over to Best Buy, or go onto Amazon and order an HD TV, an HD antenna, plug it into your TV, bam, live local news.
Fixed. Okay. Point number two. No CW.
Okay,
Okay.
you can
So
fix that. First, you can fix that with Hulu.
correct. And
Or-
I was gonna
So
go there.
so that does technically add $10 onto your bill.
Yeah.
But CBS is in active negotiations with Sony right now.
Yes.
And being as CBS owns, of course, CBS and the CW, once CBS gets their stuff together with PlayStation, bam, the CW will most likely be there.
There we go.
So yeah, you currently you do lose out on Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and some of that other schmaltzy teenage crap. But the three biggies you do lose out on, but they are on Hulu,
Yes.
um, and so you do have that.
Okay. So you can't save recordings longer than 28 days.
Very true. That part I actually don't.
Some people and a lot of us and myself included have gotten used to having just basically an endless amount of content saved for as long as I choose to have it there. When I want to
So you can
delete, I'll delete.
so
So,
you
but
can
I
binge
understand
watch.
why there's
Yeah,
that limitation. Okay, I'm not saying that that's ridiculous. I'm just saying
right.
it is a limitation.
And
Currently,
I'll agree with you on that limitation.
okay.
So that one I agree with.
Currently, there's no web option, and a
You're
lot of
right.
users
You can't go onto
cable
PlayStation View via
exactly
through a laptop
can't
computer or
grab it through
something.
a browser, even if you log into your account, anything like that. So, but maybe that's
But
a feature to come. Okay,
but it does have the capability to stream through both the Fire TV and the Fire TV Stick,
or any iOS
or
device.
any iOS device. And I'm sure Android will be coming.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
be shocked if there's not an Android app within a quarter. What do you think? 3 to 4 months, there's probably an
Oh,
Android app.
easy, easy.
Maybe
Yeah,
6.
I doubt
Worst
it'll take
case
that long.
scenario, 6 months.
Yeah.
But right here, I've got the PlayStation View app right there. There it is. It's on my phone and it's loading up. So there you go. That's the other thing. You can pick multiple. That's the other thing. You can actually select multiple accounts within PlayStation View. You can
Yes.
create.
Yes.
So I have an account with my shows on it. My wife has an account with her shows on it. And then we have an account where my daughter's favorite shows are on hers. So the Wally Kazams and the Mickey Mouse Clubhouses are on her own thing, and we don't have to root through show after show after show after
Yeah.
show to find her shows.
Correct.
Which that is stupendous. Um, but I completely agree with you on the web option. Because as someone who does travel a lot myself, and I don't have an iPad, I have an iPhone. Once they have the capability to log in online to watch,
Yeah.
and CW's there, Hulu's gone. I
Yeah. Exactly.
I won't have Hulu anymore.
Oh,
Um, huh?
go
I
ahead.
won't. I mean, well, you know what? I might, because 11/22/63 is actually really good.
Really good.
So it would be pretty tough for me to, but it is also tough for me to pay $10 a month for one James Franco show.
Well, let me get to that, okay? Because that's where we start to get into something interesting that we're going to talk about what this is going to create. So, and then
Yep.
point number five, it is dependent on PSN Online. So, if you're not a PlayStation Plus subscriber, if you're not, if you don't, or excuse me, if you don't have a PlayStation Network, you can't get
Well,
PlayStation View.
well,
So,
now, well, you say that, but can't
unless you are watching, if you've got a Fire TV or an iOS device, you
exactly.
sign up for the service through there.
So that's the thing.
So
You don't have to have a PlayStation to use this service. You can
correct.
go to PlayStation.com, create an account, and buy a Fire TV or a Chromecast. I believe it works with
Yes, it
Chromecast
does.
as well, does it
Chromecast,
not?
Fire Stick, Fire TV, iOS, and PlayStation 4
Yeah, and PlayStation 3.
and PlayStation 3. Yes.
So you can go buy a $99 Fire TV, which I would recommend over the stick. The TV's a lot
Any day,
faster.
yes.
But go buy the Fire TV for 99 bucks, one time cost, and then sign up for a PSN account and bam.
Yeah,
Or
and let's face
heck, you
it,
could buy three of them, one for each TV in the house or
I was just
whatever.
going to say, if you're one of the 1 in 4 people in this country who has an Amazon Prime subscription and you don't have a Fire TV, you're really doing yourself a disservice. So,
Absolutely.
okay, so here's the pros. Here's the things that are great. Broad cable, broad channel selection, and
Yep.
seriously, absolutely the best channel selection you'll find from any cable provider out there. Period.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Especially for the price.
especially
Especially for the
considering the
price.
packaging, the way they're packaged. Okay, stupid easy to set up. Okay, it
Oh yeah.
took me, I think, maybe 6 clicks total. Done. Unlimited 28-day DVR based recording, cloud based recording. So no local DVR, no local storage on your system. It's in the cloud, unlimited 28 days. Pick a show and it'll grab everything. You don't have to select which episodes. It's just like, okay, that's the show. We'll grab it all for you. No limit, okay? The search and suggestion tools are pretty awesome. Here's where we get to I forgot my last con. I can't, no matter what. And keep in mind, you know me, and some of my friends do. I use my PlayStation 4 more than some people use their computers. I
Oh
work
yeah.
on computers constantly. So my PlayStation 4 is running. I'm working all day. I'm working on systems. I'm doing builds. I'm doing troubleshooting. My system is playing something to keep me entertained, okay, and keep my mind active while I'm doing it so I don't just go into a lull of boredom all the time. I watch Netflix. We watch some Hulu content. Obviously YouTube. Not to mention gaming. I've become accustomed to the ease of use of the UI
Hmm.
in Netflix. I will say the UI right now in PlayStation Plus screws me up all the time. I can't, I'm still trying to get a feel for how to select things, how to add them to my list. Like I know what the buttons are, but it doesn't always work the way like
You
it
feel
does
like
on
it should.
paper. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'll
so
say this, having the universal media remote
I've heard, yeah, that
actually
makes it easier.
it actually does help. And that's saying a lot coming from me because prior to PlayStation View, I thought that was the stupidest, most ignorant 20 bucks I'd ever spent was that piece of crap remote from PDP or whoever it is that makes it for them.
PDP.
That thing that thing is a joke
Just in
outside of
case,
PlayStation View.
and if anyone from that company is watching PDP, we just put you on blast because yeah, the remote's kind of
Your
ridiculous.
remote sucks.
Yeah.
Your remote sucks. It sucks.
What
It
blows my
sucks.
mind is the
The
PlayStation
PS3
3.
one was
The
amazing.
PS3 was not the multimedia machine Sony wanted it to be. And
No.
seriously, it was their
And
worst
that
selling
remote,
console to date, but that remote was godlike.
that was one of the best remotes I'd ever used.
And
Yeah,
then
I
I
mean,
get,
it wasn't a Harmony remote,
yeah,
but it was
still.
amazing.
And then we get the
And why they
PS4,
didn't
which
just
is that
why didn't they just
convergent.
take that remote and make it work with the PlayStation
That's where I
4
was
is beyond
going.
me. So here's this. That remote and I can't believe I'm getting off on this tangent because I hate this. That's how much I hate this remote. I'm tangenting. I'm Dennis Miller and I'm going off on a rant here.
Ran it away.
Um, that remote, if you are in Hulu, you cannot back up a screen. You have to start the whole app over. I have yet to be able to figure out how to get it to program to control my TV. I have tried auto program. I have tried every code in the book. I have read online that there are misprints in the owner's manual during the programming process. So you actually have to do the opposite of what it says in the book to
Oh
make
my
it
god.
work. The thing is a joke. It's an as it's a clown shoe. That's the only way I can describe. The thing is a freaking clown shoe. It's a joke. Okay. I'm off that now. That
Okay.
remote sucks. Let's move on. PlayStation View though,
So
it's
PlayStation
good
View.
stuff.
So let's take a look at it from the top down. So as
Yeah.
far as a service is concerned, let's face it, it is a cable service. You will
Yeah.
not find a cable service with a better channel lineup, okay? And I'm not talking about like suited to my needs. I'm talking the general consumer, the
Everyone
channels
needs.
that they watch the most, okay?
Yep.
In one package at these tiers price wise, you won't find a better setup. I don't
Absolutely.
care if you're with Comcast and Xfinity. I don't care if you're with, MediaCom, Cox.
It doesn't matter who you're with.
Yeah.
It
So
literally does not matter.
this is absolutely the best setup. Now, I will say this: it is significantly more expensive, okay, than Hulu. It's significantly more expensive than Sling TV, the only real competitor for it. But it's a fraction of the cost, and I'm going to qualify this statement. It's a
Okay.
fraction of the cost of Dish Network, DirecTV, Comcast, MediaCom, any of them. Most people I know who have a subscription for cable are paying $115 plus a month. Now, in many
Yep.
cases, that does include their internet service, but we're talking
Yep.
$65 to $75 a month just for this cable side of their service for the channel books, and a lot of them
For less
are.
channels.
Yeah, I was just going to say a lot of them are in that tier because that's what they're willing to spend. There's channels they
Uh-huh.
want, but they're not going to pay another $25 a month just for two channels. So here's where it gets good. We did the math. My wife and I sat down and we did the math. If we take the
Yep.
cost of our Netflix subscription and we add it to the
Yep.
cost of our PlayStation View subscription, okay,
Yep.
and the cost of a Hulu subscription, we still
Yep.
pay $1,000 less a year than if we had Dish to
So
get the
you
same
you
channels
pay a mortgage payment less a
annually,
year.
even with all those
Think
services.
about that.
Even
Yeah,
with all
think
those
about that.
services.
And that's with you being on and that's with you being on the lowest tier. Myself as well, I did the math. And if it wasn't for, especially if it wasn't for the $20 discount they were given, $45, $114 just for Dish.
Yeah,
Internet I'm gonna have regardless. So
exactly.
just for Dish, $114. So we're talking what, $70 difference a month, if my math is right.
And there's someone there. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, $70 a month, almost right on the nose, $70 a month over 12 months. So once again, we're talking
Eight.
$940,
Yeah. eight hundred and
$840,
forty
which is
dollars.
which is just under a mortgage payment. And that's with me continuing to have the same basic level of service that I have now,
Yeah.
you know? And of course, there was some concern, stupid touch lamp. There were some concerns about data caps and all that. And I did the math. A 2 hour movie is about a gig if it's high def, you'd say,
Yeah.
right?
Right
Give or
about.
take.
Yep.
So half a gig for an hour of viewing. And so, I did the math, 18, if we watch TV for 18 hours a day, 30 days a month, that'd be 540 hours of TV. Divide that by two is 270 gigs of data, and I have a 400 gig data cap.
Yeah.
So even then, I can still stream Netflix. I can still stream Hulu. I can still game online and all of that. So unless I have three PlayStation views running simultaneously for 18 hours a day, which I hope to God never happens because everyone in our house weighs 600 pounds if that's what's going on. But I still would not hit data caps.
Yeah.
So I mean that's what's crazy about it. I mean it's
And let's to close out the PlayStation View because time wise,
oh yeah.
here's a couple things you need to know. It's the service itself is accessible nationwide. Okay. And if you're lucky enough to live in Chicago, Dallas, Los Angeles, Miami, New York, Philadelphia, or San Francisco, you actually get your live locals in those communities as well. Sony
Yep.
is actively negotiating with the rest of the markets in the United States to see if they can get them to be willing to. And keep in mind, the limits here have nothing to do with Sony. These limits are imposed by the networks and what they're willing to let their viewers in those areas have, so that they don't burn their agreements with cable companies. So
Well,
Sony's
and
created
keep
a
in mind, a lot of these cable companies, Comcast, own
own the cable
NBC.
network.
And
Yes.
since they own NBC, they own the NBC affiliates. So it's probably going to be pretty difficult to get local NBC onto PlayStation View because it's a
Yeah.
direct competitor. So
Correct.
I would keep in mind that that's probably going to be the last bastion of local TV and local news is NBC. That's just my guess. Could be wrong. They already have NBC on demand up there,
Right.
um, but maybe they hope that'll get NBC's viewership up.
And I
Uh,
think if they
so
close the deal with CBS that they're working on currently, I think that
yep,
will be a big step towards seeing some of the other networks. Let's face it, NBC's probably a lost cause for most
yep, that's my guess
and
anyway.
I read a quote the other day that puts it all into perspective. Apple's been negotiating for over a decade now, trying to get exclusives, contracts, and setups for locals and channels on the Apple TV, and they haven't been able to do it. And if Apple hasn't been able to get it done, a lot of other companies
Yeah,
don't.
but
It's not looking good.
look at what PlayStation has accomplished
True,
with their
true.
TV service in the last year and a
Yeah.
half.
The fact that
Oh,
we
and
have
by the
this
way,
service the way it is simply amazing.
yeah, exactly. And to throw that back, two things I didn't even talk about, or we didn't talk about. Epix is available as an add-on subscription, and so is
Yes,
Showtime.
yes, both
So
of
there
those.
are movie channels available as well,
And there
uh,
is
that
talks
you
right
can
now. Sony, I
tack.
read an article. Sony is looking at trying to get HBO Go
Oh,
aligned
if they
with the
could get
service.
HBO, that'd be huge.
Yeah.
Get your Game
So
of Thrones on there.
yeah.
That'd be massive.
So I don't know how that will affect the fact that you currently can get it through your PS4 as a standalone subscription. Whether or not you could roll that into View or what, but they're looking at options to expand the service and make it even better. And they just started it. So
Mhm.
here's the deal: if you are a PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 3 owner, if you own an Amazon Fire TV, if you own an iOS device,
Mhm.
you owe it to yourself just to try it and see
Yeah,
if you're capable.
you get a
It's
free week
free.
trial,
It's a
free
free
for a week.
trial. You get 2 weeks,
Yeah,
isn't it?
give it a whirl. No,
I
it's 1 week.
okay. So here's the
Yeah.
deal. Try it for a week and see if you don't like the ability and the channel lineups better than you do your cable company's offerings.
Mhm.
And even if you would have to cut out one channel that you like, but don't watch enough to make it a deal breaker, if it's going to save you $60 a month, that's a
Yeah,
big thing to think about. So just try it out.
yeah.
If you've got any of these services, or if you have any of these hardware devices, like I said, Fire Stick, Fire TV, iOS device, Chromecast, or PS4, PS3, at least take a minute and try the service out, so you can see where the world's going, because this is going to change things.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So,
And you know all the cable companies are just they've got to be freaking out.
oh
They
yeah,
have got to be freaking out. I can't imagine that they're not.
yeah.
So speaking of internet TV, internet streaming, internet video, um, we're gonna wrap up this episode talking about the return of the Man in Red, the return of Daredevil to our screens, to Netflix. Sean and I have both made it through the first three episodes. We have seen the unveiling of John Barenthal as the Punisher, and buddy, the quality is still there from last season. And I'll still say that my favorite thing that Marvel has done to date is that first season of Daredevil. I'll put it up against anything. That is amazing television. As much as I love The Flash and it's a comic book come to life, Daredevil is the best thing easily that Marvel has done and possibly the best comic book thing that I've ever seen in media. Period. I love that first season of Daredevil. I think I've watched it 3 or 4 times at this
Yeah.
point. So,
It's just as far as shows go, Netflix has done a really good job of showing that their production coordinators and as a network, they're incredibly good at casting.
oh my
And so
gosh,
many of their
yes.
shows show it. And when I first found out that Charlie Cox was going
That
to play,
guy from Boardwalk Empire?
yeah, I was just like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
didn't see
And
it either.
oh my God. And
And is he so good?
I can't picture anyone else playing Matt Murdock. He is
Yep,
so
sorry, Ben
perfect.
Affleck.
Yeah, I'm
You can go
sorry.
be Batman. That's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
I
Let's
think you're going to be great at Batman, by the way. Can't
go
wait. We got
go
tickets for
Batfleck it
Friday.
up. But
Yeah.
and let's face it, you've made jokes about it yourself. Your
Yeah,
Daredevil was trash. So
it's not his fault.
it's
He did the best he could with the schlock he was given. So, you know, I'm a Affleck fan. And that's probably from being a Kevin Smith fan. So I grew up watching Affleck in Mallrats and Dogma and all that. But I like Affleck. I think he's a great actor. and I'm probably going to get roasted hard in the comments for that coming out of my mouth. But I was one of like six people in the United States that was excited when he got cast as Batman. So, anyway, back onto Daredevil. Um,
Fantastic.
it's still incredibly well acted. It's incredibly well written, and holy cow, is it incredibly well shot. It
Yeah.
is the most. It is so gorgeously shot. I mean, last season it was the fight scene in the hallway that sold me on the show. In episode 2, where he's going to find the little kid, and he fights his way through all the thugs down the hallway, and it's like a
Oh,
single tracking shot, and he beats the crap out of all these
the
dudes.
camp. Okay, so here's the deal.
Oh,
If you haven't
I'm
seen
gushing over this show.
if you haven't seen Daredevil, okay, I can forgive you for this. If you're not a comic book fan and you're like, oh, it's a comic book show, here's the deal. If you're a fan of well shot action, if you're a John Woo fan, okay,
Mhm.
if you're any kind of a uh, anybody who's done extremely well choreographed and well shot cinema combat, Jackie Chan, if you're a kung fu movie fan, if you're a fan of well done action, seriously, the choreography and camera work in this show is second to none. Yes, the hallway fight scene in the first season I thought was
That's
the
what sold me
greatest.
on the show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the stairwell scene, oh my lord.
The stairwell scene in episode 3 of this season
Yes.
is absolutely amazing, and that's the episode we're both through. So I'm sure between episodes 4 and 12 or 4 and 13 or however many there is, there will be another great scene like that.
Yeah.
But man, so far I went back. I actually went back and watched that scene 3 times in a row because I was just blown away with how well it was shot and the way the camera moved, and it felt like you were in the stairwell with him as he was fighting. It was a
Yes.
great piece of cinematography. It was amazing. Um, the thing that I've actually been pretty pleasantly surprised with has been the introduction of John Barenthal as the Punisher, as Frank Castle, because I will say when they announced him, I was like, okay, yeah, he looks the part. He's got the big burly Italian dude, but I was just thinking that giant freaking douchebag Shane from The Walking Dead. You can't protect her, Rick. I thought that was good. I thought it was just going to be that he was going to be rubbing his head all the time and doing that nonsense and walk. And I know he was playing a character, but I could not get Shane out of my head when they first. But I've been very happy thus far with it. The line where you're just one bad day away from being me. He delivered it perfectly, and I've been very
So,
happy.
devil's advocate moment.
Yeah,
So Barenthal is awesome as Punisher. Don't get me wrong, okay?
right.
I like him as the character all the way up until he opens his mouth. I don't know why, but I expect a more urban character for Punisher.
Well, you
And
expect to have a Brooklyn accent, or what
and
do you?
well, not necessarily a Brooklyn accent, but not sound like he just walked out of a hovel in Arkansas. And Barenthal still has that real heavy, to his
Okay, now I'm gonna have to go
dialogue.
back and yeah, I'm
And
definitely gonna have to watch more.
especially the rooftop scene drove me crazy because I'm staring at this guy and I'm like, God, you live and breathe Punisher. And then he opens his mouth to give his little diatribe to Daredevil, who's tied to a chimney with a chain. and
Yeah, chained up.
and the whole dialogue is this southern, bad
See, I didn't
guy.
pick Southern out of that,
I
and
can't put my
maybe
finger
it's
on it.
because I spend enough time in.
It's not necessarily a drawl, just like it wasn't in Walking Dead. But it's got
He
something.
speaks. I think what it is that he speaks kind of in a slow.
It's not the cadence.
Uh, it's a slow. It's just not necessarily the cadence, but the pace with which he speaks has a slower pace to it. And when you think of the coasts, you think of guys talking really fast, and maybe that's it. I
Maybe.
I, I don't know.
It's the
I
R's.
I guess I didn't see it. Maybe he does drop his R's a bit. Yeah, I mean he's
Oh,
from Washington D.C. He's not. It's not
yeah,
like he's from Little Rock.
yeah, and that's
So
what's.
I don't know where the Southern accent
It's
would
almost
come
like
from. I
he's
guess I just didn't
channeling
pick
the
up on it.
Shane in his voice, and so every time
Maybe
he
he is
starts talking,
Maybe he is channeling Shane.
that's the part that I'm just
That's
like,
thoroughly possible.
but that having been said, that's my only complaint so far.
Yeah.
I've heard some things about people being upset that they don't feel like the show is evolving enough, and I think that Daredevil was in its own right. The first season was really a risk. Um,
Oh yeah.
Especially after previous attempts at Daredevil, and
Yep.
putting it as a Netflix original show. There were so many risks being taken, and they did so
Well,
good.
they were Iron Manning it.
And
They
they
were
were,
launching a whole
yes.
universe on the back of
And
Daredevil,
I think what they've done
and it
here
has
with
not disappointed.
exactly, and I was going to say that's what I think is happening with season two, is people are expecting it to evolve and be something magical above what last season was, and it's just keeping that same excitement level. And I think that's intentional. I think they've got a good thing. They did something
Mhm.
amazing. They had no idea that season one was going to blow up the way it did with fans,
Right.
um,
Right.
and get such great reviews. And so they're looking to carry that on without messing with the formula too much. Okay.
Right.
And I think that's a good, safe move for them, because here's the thing, we like it. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
care that it's not drastically evolving as a show and the characters aren't reaching these
Hmm.
magical relationship epiphanies, and you know what I mean? That
Right.
that the tension between Murdoch and oh my
And
god.
Karen,
No, not Karen.
Night
Oh,
Nurse.
no, chubby sidekick. His
Oh, Foggy.
Foggy. Thank you. Losing my train
Yeah.
of thought.
I was assuming you
Oh,
were talking sexual tension,
no, no,
which
no,
maybe
no.
there
The
is a little bit there. I
relationship
don't know.
tension between
Yeah.
Foggy and
Yeah.
Matt is fantastic. And
Well, yeah, because Foggy just wants to keep his friend safe.
yeah, yeah.
Once he finds out what his extracurriculars are, his whole thing is wanting to keep him safe.
And he's so
And
pissed. He's so pissed
he's so mad
out
that
of
he can't keep his
concern.
friend safe, and he can't stop him from going to do
Exactly.
this honestly bat crap crazy quest
Yes.
that he's on to save Hell's Kitchen, especially once Punisher shows up.
Yeah. And Karen is proving to be the most undercover and unexpectedly alluring
Yeah.
character I've seen in a show in a while. Like, I can't put my finger on it because she's not overt. She doesn't exude overt sexiness in any way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But she's got a vulnerable side to it. I think she
Is
cries
she
too much.
office hot?
What?
No. Is she
Is
office hot? She's the best
she,
looking chick in the office, so she's hot?
she
No.
she's a step above office hot.
I
So,
know, I'm just playing
but
around.
the way they've
You
written her
can't be office
character,
hot when Rosario Dawson's in the show, so
yeah, no joke. Um, but the way her character is written, there's that vulnerability to her, and I like the fragility between her and Matt and his.
yeah.
He's just not at a point where he can open up about where he
But
is.
she knows that he's full of crap and that there's something
Yes.
going
And I
on
love
and
that
has not
tension.
picked up.
I
Yeah.
love that
Yeah.
tension. And they
I
don't
agree.
overplay it, and so she knows that there's something there. I love the relationship dynamics here. And Rosario
Hmm.
Dawson, I love her in everything she's in. Clerks
Yep.
2. Oh my God.
Clerks too. She's funny in that.
She's amazing in it. And so
Yeah.
I've always been a Rosario Dawson fan. I think she's
Yeah.
great in it. I can't wait to finish the season. I'm probably going to tear through it in the next couple days while I'm working on
Yeah,
stuff
that's
for
my plan.
clients. Because I really want to finish it. But yeah, must be said, you must check out Daredevil 2, season 2.
Yeah.
If you're any kind of a fan of anything that's got action or
Well,
Marvel in it.
and if you're not one of those comic booky people, the thing to keep in mind is that in season one he doesn't put on the goofy costume with the horns until like 80% of the way through the last episode. It's basically a kung fu version of Law and Order for the first 12 and a half episodes. So if you like crime
Yeah.
drama,
Yes.
if you like kung fu, if you like fights, but you don't like the capes and you don't like the cowls, he's a dude in a black outfit with a Dread Pirate Roberts scarf over his face for the first 12 and a half episodes.
Yes.
So, keep that in mind. Give it a chance. I've been espousing the deeds of this show to everyone I know. Watch Daredevil, check out Daredevil. Yeah, it's violent, yeah, it's bloody, but it's gritty, and it's not tights and flights. It's not there's no dude soaring around. There's no guy with superhuman strength. There's no guy with superhuman healing ability. It's a guy that just so happens to be extremely well trained, and that even though he's blind, he has the capability to protect his city at a gritty street level way of doing things.
Yeah.
So it's not traditional superhero. And that's what I've actually always liked about Daredevil, because I've read Daredevil comics. I love the Frank Miller run. There's a lot of good Daredevil out there. So I've been a huge fan of Daredevil for a long time. And I think it's perfect.
It's
So
a great show.
anyway,
It's a fantastic show.
there's my love for Daredevil. And we've honestly run over on time,
Yeah.
ladies and gents. We're gonna try to keep these under an hour, but so we've run a little bit over. So let's get her wrapped up. You can follow us at geek.0.com for all of our exploits. www.geekpoint0.com. You can also follow us on Facebook forward slash geek.0, at twitter.com/geek.0 or at geek.0. And we're also on Instagram at geek.0. Also join us. We've been counting down the top 21 facts, alternating between Batman and Superman, leading up to the debut of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. And join us on Friday. We're going to do a tiny little. Sean actually doesn't know this yet, but we're going to do a tiny little pre-show before the movie, and we're probably going to do a tiny little reaction after the fact. So I'm springing this on Sean because we're going to the movie together, so we might as well react to it.
Absolutely.
And I hope it's good, because my wife keeps telling everybody that if this movie sucks, she's going to have a really long car ride home with me. So, for that being said, for Geek.0, I'm Chris.
I'm Shawn Michael.
Have a great week.